Hello, hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay. Hello.
I'm with you.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So I have to put in the background for now. I've started. All right. Good evening, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me. We have our speaker in the building. We have a speaker in the building. Good evening. Let me know where you are joining from. Please go ahead, share the links, and invite your friends. Let them be a part of this amazing session tonight. Good evening. Welcome. If you can hear me clearly, can you put that in the comment section? Let's know where you are joining us from. We will start shortly. Good evening and welcome. If you can hear me clearly, can you just type in the comment section? I'm still waiting for your chat. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Abdullah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We start in the next 2 minutes. Just wait a bit for more people to join. Our guest speaker she's in the studio already, and it's such a great privilege and honor for me to have her in the building this evening. Uh, yeah, thank you and welcome. Thanks for joining. Thank you. If you don't mind, if you'd like to type in where you're joining from, let's know where you are joining from. Let's know where you're joining from. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Good evening. So lovely to have you in the room. So lovely to have you here. So let's just know. Oh, awesome. Glasgow. Wow. That's nice. Good to have you here. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Let's know where you're joining in from. Abuja, Nigeria. Welcome. Welcome. Why Buife. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that well. Welcome online. All right. So before I bring our speaker on board, I would just like to do a quick introduction of what PSP is about. So PSP means Parents Supporting Parents in the UK. And our vision is to empower Nigerian parents in the UK to thrive in a diverse society while raising awesome families and fostering a sense of community. So the whole essence of the group is to support one another and to also raise strong families. We all know how important family is, and our mission is to provide a supportive and inclusive environment where Nigerian parents in the UK can share experiences, access resources, build networks that promotes mutual learning and holistic well-being for themselves first and then their families. And through collaboration and advocacy, we aim to equip Nigerian parents with the tools and the knowledge needed to navigate the challenges of parenting in a new country. We know how hard or how relocation can be on families. And so, just like a support network to help people to settle in well in the new environment. So we also create meaningful to help people create meaningful and fulfilling life for themselves and their children in the UK. And currently, we have about 551 members, both male and female, all residents in the UK. And our core values are respect, empathy, mutual support, education, advocacy, and community engagement. And over the last 8, 9 months, we've had previous webinars where we had speakers come speak to us on various topics. We have some of these webinars on our YouTube channel. So in January, we had someone come speak to us about how to take care of your skin in the UK. Then we had a session on safeguarding and childcare issues in the UK. We've had a session on demystifying English education system and also on how to build strong financial foundation in the UK. And in July, we had a session on how to find your true self in the business of life. We know how it can be in the UK, going for shifts, everyone trying to work hard to make ends meet, and how people get lost in the process. Trying to earn and everything, and you just realize that you have lost your true self, you have lost your owness. So, this webinar was just like a kind of reminder for us that despite how busy our schedule might be, we should still be able to take care of ourselves, find ourselves, do what we love to do. And we have our upcoming webinars. So raising confidence and empowered girls. I'm so happy to have our speaker in the house. So we're so planning a webinar on health and lifestyle. And we also have a session later in the year for boys. So we are not being partial. So we also have another one for girls again. And also overcoming marriage pressures in the UK. We know how challenging it can be for marriages in the UK. I'm sure you must have had a lot of stories, but ours can be different. And we'll also be learning how to help our marriages stay strong and grow bigger. So for partnership and collaboration, these are the contact details of our admin, and you can also send us an email. And if you're interested in joining the network, it's open to only UK residents, and you can scan this QR code, or you use the URL here to join, but you can only join with a UK number. So that being said, I would like to introduce our speaker and bring her on board. So first of all, my name is Atinuke Ayomakinde. So I'm one of the admin for parents supporting parents in the UK. And before I bring our speaker on board, I would like to run through our profile. So our speaker is Irene Bangwell. She is an educator and a parenting coach. As an educator, Irene and her husband Kingsley are the co-founders of the Norsk 100 Naira a Day Secondary School in Kuje, Nigeria. This is a private public secondary school designed for children from low-income families. As a parent coach, Irene is the creator of the Body Smart Bundle for Girls, a biblical abstinence-based sex education tool for girls, educators, and parents of girls. She holds conversations that empower parents with the knowledge, skills, and resolve to parent wholesome girls. She's also the convener of the Saver Christmas Carnival, a family body safety event. Irene mentors hundreds of girls on a monthly basis through a remarkable program tagged the 10 the 10 over 10 squad. Our vision is an African continent with millions of females in our boardrooms championing development and inclusive growth for every Africa. Irene holds a bachelor's degree in banking and finance from University of Calabar, a postgraduate diploma in education from University of Ilorin, and executive education certificate in leaders of learning from Harvard X. And with a lovely emoji, can you please make welcome our own speaker? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So lovely to have you. We
Good
can hear
evening.
you.
Good
All
evening. Can you
right.
hear? Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can
Thank you
hear
so
you.
much. It's such an honor. I was just listening to all the great work you guys are already doing. I just want to celebrate all the parents that are in the UK that are part of this organization, this association. You guys are proactive. I love the way that you're picking up different pieces of things that affect you and how you're problem solving together. I see God place you in positions of influence, shaping policies. You're not there by mistake or any kind. And quite unlike what the common perspective is, you did not jackpot. That is, you're on a purpose mission, and this is what it looks like. So I celebrate everyone. Honestly, such an honor to be here. And Tatinuke, why am I not seeing your face again? Is my session starting already?
Yes, you have the stage, ma.
All right.
So it's a 2 hour session. I don't know how
Okay.
many minutes you like to talk with. So, but we would also give room for questions at the end of your session.
All right. Fantastic.
So
So I'm going
you
to
have the
start now.
stage, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you
right.
so very
Yeah.
much. Thank you so very much. So, good evening, everyone. I'd just like the parents on the call to please tell me how old their princesses are. So, I'm a girls' coach, but definitely the things I say, you will definitely get value for even your sons. Thank you so much, Mama Joy Emmanuel. Thank you, Mrs. D. Thank you, Mrs. Nwanyi Buife, for joining, and Madam Somto Keke for being here. Buki B, thank you. Abiola Bernard, thank you, everyone, for being here. So I'd like to know the ages of the kids that are represented here today so that when I start my session, I make sure that I'm giving you something to work with so that I don't focus on any particular age group. Fantastic. I see 8 years old. Fantastic. I want to make sure that what I'm saying is impactful and you can do something with it. All right. Okay. Anolapo is joining in from the UK. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Woo, this is amazing. This is amazing. I see Joy Princess is 5 years and being managed for autism. Or wishing you all the strength that you need and all the miracles that God has in store for you. So I have 9 year old, 5 year old, 9 and 5, two. Okay. My daughter turns two at the end of this month. So you have a sweet baby there coming. And Tinua De Labi she has a 12 and 9 year old. Fantastic. So today I'm going to be talking to us about raising confident and empowered girls. Confident and empowered girls. I like to see how many people can type that for me in the comment section. Confident and empowered girls. Confident and empowered girls. Hey, Pandidi, you have a big girl in your hand, 17-year-old, 1 year to go. Ah, amazing. Well done, Mama. I'm sure it's been some journey for you. 17 and 12, fantastic. So let me hear. I want to see people type confident and empowered girls. Confident and empowered girls. Yep, I see one person. I see one person there. Confident and empowered girls. Very important. Confident and empowered girls. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, we're all on course. Yeah. I like that. I like that. I like that. Confident and empowered girls. Fantastic. Okay. I see three people typing. I can imagine other people are still typing. Yep. That's the word. Today I'm going to be talking about a subject matter that actually begins with those of us that are mothers and then cascades to the younger women coming along. Yep, it's very important for us to have these conversations as often as possible. I'll just tell you a little bit about myself, and then I hope that my story gives you like a trajectory for how the self-esteem of girls go up and down, and then I'll share with you a framework that all you need to do is remember, and if you can remember it, you'll use it anyway. Okay, so I was given the permission to stream this to my audience. I am grateful for that. So raising confident and empowered girls and empowered girls today. All right, fantastic. Okay, beautiful. Okay, okay, okay. So let me tell you a little bit about myself.
Okay, we seem to have lost our guest. All right, I think she might be having a bit of network session. I mean network ish. So so while we wait for her to get that sorted, she has asked us to write in. So if you are just joining us, so this is Parents Supporting Parents in the UK. This program is organized by Parents Supporting Parents in the UK, and we are a support system, by a community that provides support to Nigerian parents in the UK. We empower them to thrive in a diverse society while raising awesome families and fostering a sense of community. If you Our mission is to provide a supportive and inclusive environment where Nigerian parents can share their experiences, access resources, and build a network that promotes mutual learning and holistic well-being for themselves and for their families. Uh, we have over 500 members at the moment, and if you are in the UK or you know someone that just relocated to the UK and really needs a community for them. So we talk about various things. We talk about parenting, we talk about settling in the UK, we talk about finances, we talk about marriage and everything. So if you think, oh, all right, she's back. Okay.
So sorry about that. Our network threw me off. I don't know why that happened. If you can hear me, please let me know if you can hear me. So I want to start out just sharing my story with us, and then I'll share with us a framework that I have about raising empowered girls and confident girls. And then it's going to be a framework that you can always remember. I just want you to have it in your head and work with it and operate from there. So let me know how many people can hear me. I hope I'm not speaking too fast. Okay. Please, if you can hear me, let me know. Auntie Tinuka, please, can you hear me? Lord, we pray that this network works well for us in Jesus' name. Okay, fantastic. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit of my story. You'll be able to pick a piece here and there from what I say. But as I also share the story, I want you to think about yourself. If you've been someone that has experienced similar changes, let me just put this out there, like huge potential, but low self belief, huge potential, but lack of confidence, huge potential, but always thinking that other people have it more better than you. That even in the midst of people telling you you're so phenomenal, you manage to still find something wrong with yourself. So let me start out telling my story. So my mom had me as a teenager, and she was a pastor's kid that met some guy, and the next thing she was pregnant, and the guy would not have anything to do with the pregnancy. The guy said it wasn't his, and my mom ended up raising me all by herself. I turned 40 last year. I've never met the guy, don't know him, don't know his name, don't know who he is, don't know jack about him. So anyway, while in primary school, I was an alpha kid, doing very well academically. I remember this time I was in primary four. Then there was no primary six, so we had primary five, and I was in primary four. And my headmistress asked that they should get me in primary four to write the mock exams along with primary five, and they got me to write the exams, the mock exams with primary five, and I ended up coming first overall between primary four and five. And that was when they told me that I could go to secondary school. They asked my parents to register me for common entrance. They did. And I ended up going to, somebody said they can't hear. I ended up going to secondary school. I remember being nominated to write the gifted children's exam in Nigeria, and so one would think that you've seen yourself succeed. You've been talk of the town, you've been talk of school, teachers are celebrating you. I remember in my church at the time, all media production, I had to be there. You know that frustrating thing that you go to church and every presentation they have particular kids. I was the one kid that would frustrate other parents because everyone wanted me in their presentation. I was confident, I was vocal. I want you to take that confidence with um a pinch of salt. Mhm. And then I hit secondary school. Secondary school, straight up boarding school. And then I show up in boarding school and it starts to become my reality that I'm not even sure who I am. So my first year in secondary school, there's a lot of bullying. And I noticed that the seniors would not send just any kid. They particularly insisted it had to be me. I mean, this was really frustrating. They insisted it had to be me. They insisted it had to be me. They would leave my classmates and pick on me. And there was something. I want to imagine that there was an aura that I exuded that made it easy for me to be preyed on. Today's session, I'm going to talk about where that aura can come from. And they preyed on me. The seniors took advantage of me. I did not know that I could talk to anyone. I mean, when I say preyed on me, they preyed on me. So I went to Federal Government Girls College, Calabar, and I went to school between 93 and 99. And I can assure you that there were issues. The second part of it was I was solidly intimidated by what I met. I might have come as a superstar, but I met other superstars and I didn't know where I fit. First year, third term, I came 33 out of 34. And in those days, Unity schools did not allow children repeat because they felt that it was a transition. So you wouldn't repeat. Long story short, my secondary school was rocky. It was very challenging. I went into secondary school wanting to be a doctor, but by SS1, I barely had math or English or science in the junior exams. And so they just like said, what are you going to do? What does your mommy do? I said, my mom is an accountant. It's okay, go to the commercial class. And that's how my long held dream of being a medical doctor didn't happen. I wasn't one of those kids that parents told to be doctors. I did want to be a doctor, but I didn't have the grades for it at the time. So by the time I finished secondary school SS3, my academics is still rocky, challenging, and then I'm out, and then I'm re-registered for external exams, and then I have these amazing teachers who were so relatable. They saw me, they listened, they cared, and I got my grades back on track. Yeah, and eventually I finished university reading banking and finance, easy peasy, got out, and eventually found that I had a calling to be in education, and that's been it. I'm telling you this story to say that a child can start out strong, but lose their self esteem along the way. In fact, you can see a child's potential and everyone can see it, but the child will not see it. So today's session is to get you to a place where you can say that your child is confident, not because of what you told them, but because of what they know about themselves. Yeah? For many of us parents today, we think that in telling our kids you're beautiful, they suddenly go away with the idea they're beautiful. But those kinds of concepts don't come in by external validation. They can only come intrinsically. So you want an empowered, confident girl. It's not so much as the external as what's happening on their inside. So my conversation today is going to be around how do we build girls that on the inside they see themselves, they value themselves, they recognize that something huge is happening in their lives, and therefore they take actions in line with those. Because I promise you, at different times of their lives, they will have different experiences that tear at the confidence that they feel, tear at the empowered sense that they have. So, how do we make this thing an inside job happening in the heart of our girls? That's what I'm going to be talking about today. My conversation is going to rise on three principles that I designed a couple of years ago, which I have found to be true about building, I would like to call it sustainable self esteem. Three pillars. Three pillars. I'm going to mention them in a moment. While doing my postgraduate diploma, I decided to work on something. I decided to write a research to see how much association could influence children, who they relate with, who they associate with. Can it help improve the academics? So if a child started to associate with a high flyer, um, can there be something that happens in their grades to improve because of that association? My research, needless to say, was inconclusive because the day I went to administer the survey in a particular public school, kids sat with each other looking at each other's feedback and they wrote it. So when I went back to my supervisor, I said, I need to roll out this survey again. He said, no, you have your report. Their friends determine the outcomes. They were looking at each other's work during because of the condition of public schools and all of that. So they looked at each other's work, they wrote what the other person wanted. So they swung each other's feedback. And so that in itself is a report for you. Anyway, in the course of doing this research, I came across a concept called self efficacy. I don't know if you want to type that in the comments. Self efficacy. Self efficacy. I don't know if anyone could type it for me. I just want to know that you're right where I am in my conversation. Thank you, Mrs. D, for the hot fire you're sending for me. Thank you for the encouragement. So I came across the concept of self efficacy. I'm still waiting for someone that will type it for me. But that concept essentially says you by yourself can tell yourself that you're capable. It's powerful. Self efficacy is, even in moments of adversity, the confidence that you feel that I can do this thing. It can happen right in the middle of failure, but you can tell yourself you can do it. So for me, the goal for me is to get you to a point where you raise your girls to the point that they have their own self efficacy. They're driven by this. You can tell yourself you're capable. And it can happen in the most difficult times. It can happen in the most terrible situations. A child can face difficult situation and still get up and say, I can do this thing. That's what we want. Because we would not always be there with our kids. Right now, you're on this call. Even if you're in the same room with your child, somebody called me Princess Irene. That person knows me from somewhere. You get the idea? You're on this call. I'm on this call with you. My children are in different parts of the house. I don't know what is happening in their interactions. But one interaction can make a child get up and feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not there to process what's happening in their head. So usually I want to give them the building blocks of self-efficacy, where even if mommy was not there, something happened. Someone said something terrible to you at school. You can see through the person and know that it cannot be me you're talking about. And for those of you living in the UK, I've gotten loads of notes and conversations around racism happening, hostility with the kids. You want to raise a child that can look at the kid who is being unreasonable, look through them and see through their foolishness and recognize that I'm not the person this person is talking to. And come back home and have good dinner without giving it as much as a thought. That's where we're going. So, the three principles that I use to teach self confidence and empowerment for girls any day, anytime. Number one is self awareness. Self awareness, self acceptance, and self respect. I don't know if you can type that. Those are the three principles: self awareness, self acceptance, self respect. Those are the three principles: self awareness, self acceptance, and self respect. All right. I'd like to see people type that for me, please. I like to see that because I love interactions. I want to know that I'm not just lecturing. And self awareness, self acceptance, and self respect. Fantastic. So I'm going to pick pillar one, self awareness.
We can't hear you any longer.
I see myself
Okay, welcome
and I
back.
see how different I am from other people. Self awareness. Can you hear me?
Hello, ma'am.
All right, I'm back. So self
Yes, you're
awareness
back.
says, I know myself, I see myself, and I see how I'm different from others. Mhm. Let's start in our homes with our children. All our children are different, too. So let me start with self awareness from physical traits, self awareness of talent, and self awareness of immediate, instant emotions. So, physical self, I'm aware that I'm different from my other children. I'm aware I'm different from other people. So, let me look at my kids. I have two daughters, and they have two different personalities. I've made it a point of duty to help them know that this is your personality and that is your personality. I've gone further to help them know that each personality has a strength, each personality has a weakness. What that means is that even during mistakes that happen at home, one child may not make the same mistake as the other. It doesn't make their other child better, it makes them different. Some of them may have weaknesses that are associated with their personality. So even in correcting them in moments of weakness, we come from, this is your personality. My first daughter is an organizer. This year, this August, September, both of us worked on a book together. Both of us were ill at different times, but it did not interfere with the work. We got it done. She's the one I can give that work to. She is detailed. She can take her time. She can do her stuff. But that same child is not accommodating. She can be impatient with people. If she keeps her stuff here, it won't happen. But here's the shocking part: when we have guests in the house, she is the most hospitable one. Can you see conflicting things? She's the most hospitable one. My second daughter, on the other hand, everyone says she's me. I think that she's the childhood version of me. I'm playful. Many people don't know that. Some people think I'm very serious because of what they see on social media. People that are close to me know that I'm very playful, right? So my second daughter is myself. Funny, we can spring out a joke from the most uncommon story and make a joke and we'll play. But you know the problem? If somebody's notebook is missing in school, it's that other kid. It's my second child. My first daughter's notebook is not likely to get missing. She's likely to show you series of her books she's used. Now they're both different. Now, as their parent, when I'm parenting them, one is not better than the other. I don't prefer one to the other. In correcting them, I put their personalities in front of them because it aids awareness. It also aids responsibility. So, for example, if my first daughter, I had to reprimand her for not being patient with her sister, I'll help her understand that her sister is not being careful with items, but there's a way to talk to her about it without being hostile. And I'll let her know the reason you're hostile is because you want things done a particular way. Your sister is not a robot. She can't lean on that. But this thing that you have here is positive. It has a good part. You're a leader. You can lead an organization with this strength that you have. But you still need to accommodate people that don't have the same strength as you do. What this does with self awareness is that it helps a child see this is who I am. This thing is a good thing, but there's still things I need to be careful of. Children with low self esteem think something is wrong with them, think that they're always causing pain. That's what they think the problem is. What they don't realize is that this is who I am. This thing has strength, but this thing is rough on some edges. and I need to look out for it. You know what it does? It makes them own getting better. I have a niece that has just come in, a niece and nephew that are now, they just moved in with us. And so my first daughter walks in the room and said, Mommy, I now know what you mean by bickering being very frustrating. Elena, this person are always bickering, they're always arguing. And I said, wow. She said, Mommy, listening to them, I now understand how you used to feel when we bicker. I no wonder you say we should problem solve. Let us organize it to be this. And so even how it kept going on, going on, going on, and her heart started beating. I said, you yourself are getting aggravated by this. So we're going to step back and find what they're arguing about and see where their personalities are clashing, their preferences are clashing. My second daughter is very excited, so she can promise you the world. She can promise you my home, pack it up, wrap it, and deliver it to you, and come back with joy to tell me I've given out the whole house. And so instead of saying, did I say, Princess, so let me walk you through it. You're generous, but there are things you have permission to give out, and there are things you don't have permission to give out. If you didn't buy it, you don't have permission to give it out. I know you want to give it out, but still asking me works so that I can tell you what is workable for us. It makes children not go away with condemnation. Condemnation. My mom is always upset at my choices. My dad is always complaining. This is always, all of those things work them up big time. It makes them think something is wrong with them. But self-awareness is, this is who I am. And I tell my girls, I even tell my second daughter, I say, baby girl, this your personality will open doors for us. There are things you're going to do for us in the future, but we all have to be alive to see that future. So we turn it around into something humorous. I move from their personality and I move into their learning styles and schoolwork. My second daughter is kinesthetic. If she's not moving it, walking around, doing it, different things, it's not engaging. So classroom can be really this for her. But you know what I discovered? When she sets a goal to achieve it, nothing in this world gets in the way. If she tells you this is the score I'm going to have, she's going to do everything to get there. Her books will get done in the process. This will happen in the process. She will forget some things in the process. Her handwriting will not be legible in some processes, but she will achieve that goal. Now, if I'm so focused on what is not working, I won't see what is working. So the kids in your home, from you, they need to learn about their personalities, the strength, where is rough in the edges, and how you're willing to support them in the places that is not so good. That's self-awareness. Physical, that's personality. Let's talk about talent. You know, I told you when I was in primary school, I was doing so well in school. Then I show up in school and meet other kids and I shrink. So this is what I taught my kids. I told them that God created all humans brilliant, all of them, all of us, and that everyone is a shade of brilliant. And so when you show up in a space and you meet people with similar talents, putting out the creativity that God gave them, that you've seen another person just like you that God has designed to be awesome. Other people's brilliance should not make you shrink. You can be inspired by it, but not copy it. That's my principle. You don't need to copy. So let me tell you, my first child is 13. We have not yet met someone that was so brilliant that my daughters felt they were not good enough. My daughter, Mommy, can you see that art? See what she did with the eyes there. See what she did with it. I'm going to see how I can learn that. See what she did with it, Mommy. This is so awesome. Mommy, does she have another video? Let's see that one. I've never seen where they rumpled their art and said, I'm not good enough. But I've done that. I've done that. I did that. I showed up in school and saw kids that came from this school. They scored 500 and this one came. Da, 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 da. That's why sometimes in telling our children you're the best, there's a problem with that mindset. There's a problem with your child thinking that they're the best. So every time they see someone with a shade of brilliance, it kind of conflicts with their best status. It intimidates them. I mean, we've lived in Nigeria where a teenager or preteen tried to poison the other kid in school. because she came first. So the first thing I taught my kids about other people's brilliance is that God is multi-breasted. God is expressing himself in those kids in diverse ways. And so we can look at them and instead learn some principles they're working with. They're showing up. They keep practicing. And then I'll tell my kids, when she started, it wasn't like this. So it's the practice that made it like this. So whatever it is that you do, the more you show up, the more you do it, the more you become better at it. Oh, this child won an award. Mommy, I didn't know they could give awards for this. I say, yes, so there can be awards for this, there can be awards for that, there can be awards for that. So another kid is not a competition. Another kid is not. I don't know if you get me. Because these are some micro elements, especially for those of us raising girls. For those of us that grew up in Africa, where the mindset is that everywhere your kids show up, they have to be the best of the best of the best. Those things create problems. The last thing I'm going to talk about with self-awareness is in the moment. You need to teach your kids how to be in touch with themselves. I'm learning this as an adult, and I promise you, I learned it teaching my kids. Some people say you can't pour from an empty cup. Well, I agree, but if you're pouring from the cup of the Holy Spirit, you will teach things you don't know jack about. You will start teaching it, and you'll be having the light bulb moment, and God will help you. So I needed to teach my girls emotional regulation from when they were born. My first daughter, she's a storm in a teacup. And when people meet my two kids, they're like, hey, she's so calm. She's so. I'm like, yeah, she's so calm. She can be a storm. I remember one of her birthdays. I don't know what got her upset, and she taught something that was important. I think it was her 6th birthday. And that night, we made her sit down and talk and write, anger will not have dominion over me. So when I come to talk with parents, I come to talk to you as someone going on the journey of raising a human being. The fact that I'm a coach doesn't mean that my kids came formatted. In fact, it's from the overflow of my journey with my girls that I teach. So with emotional regulation, I needed to teach my kids to name what they're feeling and name the root. So let me give you an example. If their dad came and maybe reprimanded my first daughter in front of everyone, she has this way of keeping her cool in front of her dad. And then when she walks into her room, you start hearing other people say, don't talk to me. She will transfer that aggression. And so I had to call her and say, let's walk this through. So when daddy said this, what did you feel? Mamas, we have to raise kids who are in touch with what they're feeling. What did you feel? What thoughts came with it? So I felt embarrassed. I felt like dad didn't listen. So from the frustration that you feel, actions are following. So we need to find a route that we go from frustration to responsible decision making. We don't go from frustration and then we go and frustrate other people. I said, so let's come up with solutions. I said, what's the solution? She said, well, maybe I can give it some time and go back to daddy and tell him that this was my part and he didn't hear me clearly. I said, okay, so if you go talk to dad and dad still insists on what he's saying after hearing you, what would you do? She said, well, I'm sure he won't ignore what I said. Daddy doesn't ignore what you say. He will only respond to it. I said, so we are ready to learn. Let's get to the place where we say, I'm going to learn from this feeling. I'm not going to let it dictate to me, but I'm going to learn from it. So what does self-awareness do? Remember, empowered kids, you're not there. Something happens in school. They feel jealous. They have to be in touch with that feeling. And empowerment means I've given them the skill and the tools to deal with whatever it is. So my kid shows up and they feel jealous about someone and they feel like the person is arrogant. Because sometimes jealousy makes you think the people are arrogant. There are arrogant people, but jealousy sometimes can make you think someone is being arrogant. So in that moment, what do? If you don't pause to think, you might say something. So let's say you went to a club to draw and you feel that another girl is all over the place saying her artwork is the best, and you got up and walked up from that art. It's not me. You don't walk out of a space that will grow you because of anybody. So you sit back and tell yourself, even if she's arrogant, she has a right to her choices. My existence should not stop her existence, and nothing is stopping me from enjoying this class that I am in. My parents have paid this fee. I'm going to learn what is happening here. I'm going to be good. Now, this is not always the template, but start teaching them when you feel this way. What is responsible decision making from here? I felt this way. What do I do next that is responsible? What do I do next that is right? What do I do next that does not humiliate me? So even if someone is all over the place, you have a teacher that is always talking down on you. What do? You can tell mom about it. You can write to the teacher and say, oh, this is how I feel. Or you can go to the teacher. I don't know, is there something that I did that makes you respond to me like this? I feel like this is it. I just want us to talk about it. If the teacher will not listen, you get to a point where you reduce the importance of what the teacher says to only what pertains to lessons. Outside of lessons, everything they say is not important. So you see, with self-awareness, we've taken the child on the journey to understand that you are different. God designed you different. You're talented just like everyone else. You have emotions, you have feelings, and your feelings are valid, but your feelings must never lead to actions. We must still pause and think. Don't do something rash. But you see, that don't do something rash is connected to self-acceptance and self-respect. So let's go to self-acceptance. Before we go to self-acceptance, I'd like to hear what you've learned so far on the self-awareness side of things. I'd just like 3, 4 people to tell me what they've learned so far on the self-awareness side of things. Let me see if my YouTube is working well. Let me see if my YouTube is working well. Oh, fantastic. 5 people are watching from YouTube. My YouTube people, see, I brought you good news today. Okay? So let me see. Let me see what you've heard so far on self-awareness. I've talked about, as a parent, even you need to understand your children's personality so that the things you're quarreling about, you can give it a context. All right. So you can give it a context. If you have a child that is vocal and they gossip, you don't want to keep going. You talk too much. That's how you go and shame me. That's how you go and cause me embarrassment. It's not about talking too much. It's about saying, Princess, you love to relate with people, you love to interact with people, but there's information that shouldn't go out. There's information that is private. There's information that could embarrass someone, and you don't want to be the one that's always talking. Allow other people talk when you're with them. Allow people take the turns to share. Make sure you're not the one sharing most of the time. That approach is not shaming. Princess, I know you're social and you're the life of the party, but this is it. This is it. This is your personality type. This is how you come across sometimes. In that moment, the child understands that they are not shaming you, but you're guiding them. So Rachel said, understanding one's personality can help the child navigate life. Yes. So all my kids, there's no complaint somebody will give to them today and they don't know where it's coming from. They'll know what the problem is. They know what the problem is. They'll know where they're missing it. And because they know where they're missing it, they can ask for help. They are not hiding from the correction. They're not hiding from the correction. They know they can ask for help. They can ask for accountability. Because this is not someone saying, person. This is not, you're a bad child. This is, I have this personality. This personality has its place, but this personality is rough around these edges. So it looks like Auntie Rachel is the main person that heard something that we said, but I'm sure other people are typing. So while you're still typing, I'm still mindful of time. So I want to go to self acceptance. Self acceptance is what it is. Oh, yes. Self acceptance is what it is. I love the package that I came in. Self acceptance is driven largely by parents' response to children's personality. If you're critical about your child's personality, they feel like they need to edit themselves. Now, remember, personality reflects strength and weakness. So a child can work on their weakness while accepting the whole of who they are. But to edit their personality, they feel like their entity is a problem for you. That's why I love the package that I came in. I love the whole thing. I love the whole thing. And that's what I tell my girls. I love the whole thing. I love you holistically. I love your strength, the weakness, and we're working on them together. That's what I always tell my kids. Whatever the weakness is, we're working on it together. I'll remind you, I'll help you, I'll support you, I'll challenge you, but I will not shame you as a result of it. I will not. So self acceptance comes from we responding in the right way to our kids. Let me give you a scenario. When you receive your children's report card, when you receive your children's report, a number of things happen. You see where they're doing well and you see where they're not doing well. Before you give judgment on that report card, step back and ask, did my child make effort? Did they make effort? Did they work hard? Were they disciplined? Did they show up? Now, if a child has behavior issues that you think is responsible for their poor performance at school, you can isolate the behavior issues and show them how it's impacting their schoolwork. You're supposed to do that. That's what you're the parent for. However, I have seen children with behavior issues that still did well in school. They still did well academically. In fact, some of them continue to not improve because their results are great. And even parents, when the results are great, we don't pay attention much to the behavior issue, which is a bigger problem than the grades. So if you have a child that put in their best work and their results came and they didn't do well in some key subjects, it is rare that they didn't do well in all the subjects. No matter how a child struggles, there are subjects that they thrive in. Those subjects are a pointer to something about them and their future. So the child didn't do well in math, but they had an A in geography, but they had an A in economics, they had an A in design and technology. Oh, and they had an A in global history, whatever that is. That's a pointer. So when I pick my children's result, I'm like, who math could be better, but I see you did this well. I see you did this well. I see you did that well. What's the problem with math? Did you see that? I help the child see what's working. And then together, let's talk about what's not working. What do you think is responsible? I think it's the teacher. I don't understand the concept, or I've not read enough. Now, when I point the child to what they're doing well, they don't get defensive of the poor part. We're in this together. I'm not teaching you textbook thing. Telling you life experiences. With my kids, there's no conversation that is out of place that we cannot have because they know that the places they're doing well, mommy is celebrating and mommy is not ashamed of this part I'm not doing well. Mommy, I tell them that I am your mother, I am the parent because God wants me to support you in the earliest part of your journey. In working with you through areas you're struggling, I teach you the principles on how to deal with it when you're now alone. I show you how to deal with difficult times when you're now alone. You get the idea? So that's essentially it. Is that it back? He needs the door open. All right. You get the idea? So because I have been there and I've been able to say this. So let me bring the practices that we do that blows our children and stops them from accepting themselves. Number one, comparison. Look at that child in church. Do you know that you can talk to a child about a principle without pointing to who is modeling it? Look at that child in church. Always has memory verses in his mouth. Some of your children have memory verses in their mouth, but they don't know the specific Bible verse. They don't have the memory to capture it with the children that have photographic memory. As an educator, as I am here, I'm impressed with all kids and how they express themselves. However, I know that there are children who may not tell you the chapter and the book, but they have a deeper understanding of the concept than the ones that are vocal. So many of us show approval for glamorous, performance oriented behavior. And life is not an audition. Your children will continue to count themselves out if that's how you see life. There's always a child who did better. There's always a child that won this scholarship. What about you? What about this? What about that? What about that? What about that? If your child has a behavior problem, find out the root cause in their personality, work with them, show them where it can lead to, and ask if you can help them to overcome it. Focus on helping them acquire the character and leadership traits they need to acquire, and desist from comparison. So you have two kids, comparison. This one did better than this one. This one did better than that one. It doesn't even allow pass. Oh, my daughter just fell and said something I never do. Please give me accolades. Give me accolades. I don't do that. Oh. I don't. Because I recognize that they're two different people, two different personalities, and let me add two different assignments. So I will talk about the principle they need to acquire without comparison. Hey man, sorry, I'm the one that left the key on the door. You get the idea? When I accept my kids, they accept each other. So if I one of the things that I've noticed that maybe something comes up and somebody say, you know, this is not my thing now. Mom, you already know this is not my thing. When that happens, people still need to stay inside. We're in a session, yeah? When that happens, we're in a good place. And I don't push. When my children don't show enthusiasm over something, I don't leave. I want to know the root cause. If it's fear, they're concerned about what's ahead, I can walk them through it. But for example, I will not ask a child who is not theater oriented to take up the stage. If I find that is something that they need to acquire, it will not be based on other children's performance. It will not. It will not be on other children's performance. Nobody's child in this world can make me lose sleep. So what it means is that I had some kids during the boot camp come in, and two of my daughters taught in that boot camp. If you came to that boot camp and you went to say, look at Irene's children, they took on the platform, they owned it. You're here, you can't even read books for this. You missed it. Irene is a speaker. Her children live in a home where doing sessions like this is part of our forte. What that means is that naturally, that might be something our kids want to do. I have a friend that is also a coach. Some of us parents take credit for things that are personality strengths in our kids. So it was already in your child's personality and inclination, but you nurtured it. But now you're making it look as if it's an exclusive thing. We can't take credit from what God is doing. You get where I'm coming from? So you need to teach your kids to accept themselves. It is self-acceptance that makes them show up in public places and other people are talented and they still feel that they're cool. So self-acceptance is on you. You facilitate that. I love you. I accept you. I'm honored to be your mother. I say that to my kids all the time. I say that to my kids all the time. So that's where we are. That's where we are. So I've talked about self-awareness. I've talked about self-acceptance. I'm going to go to self-respect. So let me see what we've heard so far. And Mrs. D, I'm not hearing from you again. Are you still here? My darling Mrs. D, I've not heard from you in the last 8 minutes. So your children have some kids have a personality for something. For instance, I can't ask my kids to do Olympics. I can't send any of my children. Yes, I am honored to be your mother. It's a trust. It's a, oh, thank you so much, Mama. It's a trust that God will give me your talent to steward. And we will become the fullness of everything that God has put us to be. So when my kids struggle with something, I tell them that we need to deal with this thing together so that you can become everything that God designed for you to be. So my kids are my partners in their parenting. It's not me versus them. And before I talk about self-respect, let me tell you the origin of this mindset. My first child was 3 years old. So when my two daughters were born, one was 3, the other was now 1. They had 2 unique lines. I made them say one-liners. And that was because of their personality. For my first daughter, it was, I take correction easily and happily. So every time you would correct her, she would start crying. And I remember people that would be around say, "Oh, she's hot." I say, "No, she's angry." No, they used to say she's sorry. I say she's not sorry. She's angry. She's upset. She's not sorry. And so I get her to say I take corrections easily and happily. For my second daughter, you can imagine her own was, "I'm a leader and I act like one." When I think back at those times, I know that I was crazy because I would not say anything negative to them. I would not. I would not. But I'll tell them what I needed them to remember. I am a leader and I act like one. And so when she did something, I would say, "Jesus, is that leaderly? You're a leader now." I remember one time my second daughter taught something, and my first daughter said, "Mommy, come and see what your problem solver has done." So even in correcting them, we started with who they could be. You get the idea? So are we ready for this? Let's go to self-respect. Self-respect is powerful. Self-respect is powerful. You can't do these three things and your child is not confident or empowered. Because if you notice in these three things, they're also dealing with their flaws. They're dealing with criticism. They're dealing with negative feedback. And they're going away with, "This is who I am." God has given us our children's talents to steward. Yes. All right. Thank you so much, mamas. I see everyone is still here. Thank you so much. So let me move very quickly to self-respect. Self-respect is thought, words, and action. You have to watch what your children think of themselves, say of themselves, and act towards themselves. Thought, words, and action. So let me give you an example. So before a child says, "I'm so dumb," some thinking has gone into that. And so we have to deal with the thinking. So, first things I taught my kids was that all humans are infallible and we make mistakes. And that's why there's growth. That's why there's growth. Yes. That's why there has to be growth. I said life would be extremely boring if we all came out perfect. We want to look before and after. It's part of journey. So when they make mistakes, I let them know, "Hey, your growth is going to be beautiful. Where you are is not static. You're evolving and you're going to be a better person in this area." Periodically, I have my first daughter come to say, "Mommy, how am I doing with handling my emotions?" So we moved from crying when she was upset to talking when she was upset. And one time she wanted to start hitting her sister. She'd done it twice. And I told her it's not going to happen. No. All humans are infallible, yeah. All humans. Even us parents, we make mistakes. And so I tell my kids, there's growth. We're going to grow. So even mom is growing, dad is growing, we're learning and we're getting better in different ways. And that gives you permission to live life and grow. So you don't define yourself by any one event that you didn't feel good about your actions, no matter what the event is. That's not who you are. I teach my girls that you carry divinity on the inside of you, and that's the most constant thing about you. Man, that's what makes you powerful. Now, if you carry divinity inside of you, I'm afraid of you. That's why I can look at you and listen to what you have to say because what you have to say is important. So, to those parents that don't let their kids talk and share their view, they can't respect themselves. I want my kids to share their thoughts because their thoughts are precious and they will share it. And they recognize that, mommy said that my thought was a great one. My thought is important. Your thought is important because even when you're in the flesh, divinity is still inside. Your thought is important because God said He wants to reason with you. If God can tell my child, "Come, let's reason together," who am I to not want to reason together with them? I want to reason with them. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your recommendations. I want to hear how you feel. So when children are able to present their thoughts and their thoughts are listened to, they come to respect themselves. They come to, yeah. Let me tell you something I do in my school. I run a charity school for poor kids That school, this is our sixth school year. The kids that started with us in JSS1, they're now in SS3. When they first started, I told my husband, who's also my co-founder, that we needed these kids to feel valued. Coming from poor homes means they feel insignificant. I wanted them to be in a school where they knew that their thoughts counted. There's nothing that we do that those kids are not a part of it. Even in the design of the school, what should go in, the kids contributed ideas to how the school should be designed. They wrote the anthem of the school. I said I needed them to know that we honored their thoughts. Let me tell you one way I did it. When I thought in the classroom, I'll be teaching a topic and I'll bring out a topic and I'll tell them, like, what are the advantages and disadvantages of this? And the kids will contribute and I'll ask them to write down that thing in their notes. So children will see a sentence they contributed on the board inside their note. I have value. I respect myself. I'm important. That's the idea. Self-respect means a child goes away with the idea that they are important. When a child feels that they are not important, nobody cares, they don't have self-respect. So we start with the thought, I am important, I am important, I am important. We start with the thought, girl, I'm important. Mommy says I'm important. I shared an idea. My house, my dad is doing this because I recommended this. Self-respect from the thought, what I think is important. So you will know when your child doesn't think right about themselves. You will know. They'll say things, they'll suggest things, and sometimes they'll say to other people. So if you're sitting somewhere and you have a child that says somebody is dumb, you need to call them back and say, why do you think so? So why are you not saying they're not making the right choices? Why are you not saying they're not thinking through their choices? Why dumb? If someone carries God on their inside, I'd be slow to call them dumb. That thing I just did is mirroring. I'm trying to tell them that even on your worst day, you're important. So extend value to somebody else so that you can extend it to yourself. So that's on thought. That's on thoughts and words when kids start to say stuff. So even with words, how they describe themselves. No one event where you're not proud of yourself determines your value. So what that means for us parents is we can't hold on to those events. When those events happen where they did something wrong, let's come up with a blueprint, a plan to overcome the challenge, not a label for the child. Stop getting on the phone and talking about that incident and referring to them in the way that you do because it does something to their self-respect. They can't respect themselves. They're talked about in tones and terminologies that don't make them feel good about themselves, don't make them feel that it's worth it. So I'm going to end with actions. Hey, this action is going to be a lifelong one, teaching your kids to respect themselves. Mhm. It's a lot of things. I'll talk about the minor things and the major ones. When my kids were pretty young, when they want to watch the TV and they feel pressed, you start seeing them wriggling. I'll tell them, pause the movie. No entertainment is worth you causing your bladder discomfort. Let me just remind you, don't treat yourself like that. Pause it and go to the bathroom. No entertainment. Or they'll be watching and they'll not eat food. I say, no, your body needs nourishment. You have to choose you. So step away from that entertainment and take food because you must honor you. I come into their room, I see somebody, I will not call names by this time because I don't know if my children are becoming celebrities. Let them not be quoted. One of them used to wear socks. Instead of putting it in the laundry, she'll put it back in the drawer. And this used to happen, maybe she didn't put it in the drawer at the right time. So maybe she's clearing out the place, she just carry it and put it back. And I'll come back and say, this is dirty. It's mixing up with other clothes that you're going to wear. You're not treating yourself with honor. How can you let a dirty dress come on your body? You're better than that now. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't dishonor yourself like that. You shouldn't lie down on a bedsheet that is not clean. You're a princess now. Don't treat yourself like that. Don't treat yourself. You don't do that. Don't treat yourself like that. So my my second daughter is the social butterfly. She likes to make friends. She had this child in her former school that had the penchant of saying the most disheartening things to her. One time she told her that she has earrings, she's going to hell. She wears trousers, she's going to hell. And I'll sit her down and say, Princess, I know you're a social butterfly. You like to make friends and connect with people. But you shouldn't be hanging out with people who don't treat you right, who don't speak to you with honor. You shouldn't do that. I thought it was not sinking because she'll go, I still want to do this. Mommy, can I get a gift for her? I say, are you trying to get her to like you? Because the way God wired you, the people who like you love you. You don't need to earn it. We finally left that school. Guess what? That family tried to stay in touch with us. And every time their mother would call, my daughter would say she doesn't want to talk to the girl. So it entered. When I said action is lifelong, is that you keep teaching it. Princess, you deserve friends who listen to you. You deserve people who respect your choices. You're that important. You deserve people who listen to your recommendations. Princess, you deserve better grades. Do it for you. Make the sacrifice now so that you can truly see your potential. That's a better correction than I'll deal with you. I'll withdraw your devices. There's nothing I can't get my girls to do as I'm sitting down here. If I want to withdraw their devices, I'll tell them what's going on. I'm concerned about your sleep pattern. I'm concerned that you're just in your room. You need to come out and socialize. We need your company. Come on, let's do this. There's nothing. And when I start talking, my girls listen. When I start talking, my girls listen. I'm not telling you textbook experience, I'm telling you the reality that I live. We have to teach our girls to honor themselves. And it starts with the little things. Pay attention to the friends who listen to you. Don't do something because others are doing it. If your heart shows a dispute, a discontentment, a concern that something could be wrong, you honor it. You have to honor yourself. You don't become any other person's idea of who you should be. You ask yourself, is this what I want? If this is what I want, what part of me wants it? Is it my flesh or is it the Holy Spirit? So with honor, we move it, whether it's body safety. I told my girls that, the Bible says that the one sin in the world where you dishonor yourself is sexual immorality. I said everything else. God calls you allowing a boy touch your breast or kiss you, sin against you. It means that God needed us to honor ourselves because he knows that from the overflow of honoring ourselves, honoring him will come. There's something I teach my older girls that you may pass on to your older girls. I tell them that if an action does not honor God, it cannot honor them. So, for example, when you get compliments like you're sexy, I tell them that's the most disrespectful thing a boy can say to you. It means when I look at you, all I think about is sex. Adults have tried to give it all kinds of new adjectives. But what it means is that when I look at you, I have an arousal. And there's a problem with someone looking at me and not seeing the value that I bring. And all he thinks about is what he could do with my breast, what he could do with my mouth, what he could do with my body. So I tell the girls, I said, let me tell you, the only person in the world that gives you back to back to back to back honor is God. So once someone is not in tandem with God, they cannot honor you. So from self-awareness, God made me. And God made me special. And God made me different. And God made me complete. However, because man has fallen, I will have struggles and weaknesses. So God put parents on my pathway to support me to become a better person. So whether I like some of my strength, whether I like my strength and don't like my weakness or not, I accept myself because on the journey of myself, I have God and I have my parents and they're helping me navigate. Now, because I have God on my inside, I honor myself every step of the way. I honor myself in the thoughts that I entertain. I honor myself in the words and the way I describe myself. I honor myself in the actions that I take. I honor myself in the thoughts. So I tell my kids, when a particular thought comes and it doesn't honor God and it tells you you're not good enough, I say you're God's work of art. You can't be broken. You can't be junk. So when that thought comes that you're not good enough, trust me, it's coming from someone who is jealous. It's coming from Satan. You can't take on that thought. You can't meditate on it. You shouldn't. And I tell them what I do when I get those kind of thoughts. I tell them that's not who I am. That's not who I am. I told my kids that there was a time I had a struggle with a particular behavior problem. And the thought will come. When the thought, my husband would tell people that when he first married me, my anger was monumental. So when I'm upset about something, I'm those kind of people that will not tell you the first time, will not tell you the second time. Now you've made a habit of it, and then one day I implode. And so that day that I'm going to implode, the thought, the supply will come. The supply of the negative thoughts will come on what to take, what actions to take. But it won't come like that. It will come like this. Is it because you've done it too much? You've allowed him. He's taking you for granted. Look at what he did. Look at what he did. Look at what he, and it starts to fuel. And when those thoughts come, I'll say, that's not who I am. That's not who I am. That's not who I am. And the one the Holy Spirit is teaching me now in very recent times is this scripture that says, delight yourself in the Lord and he'll give you the desires of your heart. And so one time I was asking the Holy Spirit, what does this mean? What does it mean? Because sometimes I'm overwhelmed. What does delight myself in you mean? And he said, tell me first. Ask what I think first. Since that time, when the anger wants to breathe, I'll just say, Holy Spirit, what do I do with this? Or I'm giving you this thing to deal with. I'm not dealing with it. So, me, an adult at 41, I still have thoughts and I'm still learning how to cope with it. And I'm screaming at my child for having thoughts. Mba. So, what I do is what the Holy Spirit teaches me, I teach them. And today, God has given me the platform to share with you so that you can share it with your kids. And help is coming along the way. But we must own the fact that we are on a journey. Yesterday, I was on a show on LinkedIn and I said this, and I want to say it to all of us here. In order for us to reach a place in life where children wholly accept themselves, even with on their bad days, we need to become adults who don't judge parenting by the actions we see in kids. So what it means is that if I run into Kehinde Adelami's child and the child had an outburst, I should be more interested in helping the child reach a place of self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-respect. If I met Adelami's child having an outburst, I'll call them. Self-awareness is let them come in touch with your feeling. You felt embarrassed, you felt other kids like this. So, well, in this moment, there are different things we can do so we don't get into further trouble. We can do this or we can do this. We can do this or we can do this. And I will support her child to make a wholesome decision another time. I will not sit back and say, Adelami, CEO of this, look at her child, look at her this, look at her that. Our children witness those experiences. And sometimes when they witness that, they are afraid of being their true selves in front of us. When a child cannot be their true self in front of you, when a child cannot be authentic in front of you, there's a brokenness in their person that hinders them from living fully confident and feeling empowered. Because you're your child's rocket fuel. If your child feels that you accept them, and I don't mean patronizing acceptance that you're the best, there's nothing wrong with you. No, I'm talking about wholesome acceptance. I see your beautiful strength and I'm walking with you along the way. I'm walking with you along the way. I'm walking with you along the way. That's the most empowerment your child can have, that I have someone who loves me, who accepts me, and who values me. And that's what we must all walk. to hand over to children. At this point, I've come to the end of my session, Auntie Atinuke. Your screen should be back here so that we can do Q&A. I'm enjoying this session too much. I need you to be back here. I need you to be back here so that we can do Q&A. I hope this was impactful for you.
Oh,
I hope this was impactful for you.
I mean, I'm short of words. I'm sure you could see me in the back end just clapping and just, wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please just put in your
Is
comment in
it
the
my
comment
network?
section. Can you hear me now? Can everyone hear me? Please, if you can hear me, put in the comment section. Ah, no, this is mind blowing. Kilo day. I mean, it just feels as if I've not heard some of these things before, and I'm like, what? Yes, I can. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Mama. Please, just help me celebrate her in the comment section. Please, just help me celebrate her. This is wisdom. Oh, there. Oh, she's gone. I think she's trying to join back again. This is wisdom overload. Please just share in the comment section. Tell us your aha moment, that moment that it just hits you. One for me was the scripture she quoted: "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He shall give you the desires of your heart." And when she asked the Holy Spirit, "What does delight yourself mean?" and the Holy Spirit says, "Ask me first." I mean, that it's something in me. Like, what? I've been reading these scriptures. I know it. I have memorized it. I know it, but it just eats differently this evening. Please tell us in the comment section something that struck you, your haha movement. Please, your light bulb moment. I want to hear it. I mean, thank you so much. That was just a beautiful and an amazing session. Some of the things you said, I mean, just felt as if, where have you been? I'm not sure I've had some of these things before. And like you said, it's not on Google. This is not Google. And I'm so glad that you it was very practical. You used your life, your children as examples. So it's not like you went on Google, downloaded principles or rules about. So no, this is so practical. And I mean, I know you one on one, and this is something you have lived, you have demonstrated, you have lived out. So it's not as if you are thinking it out, or I mean, thank you so much. Such an awesome way. Please, guys, I'm still waiting for your questions. Please drop in your questions. Drop in your questions. And please, you can share this too. Go ahead and share. People need to hear this, especially if you have, and it's not only for girls. If you notice, most of these conversations are not just for girls, even boys too. Our boys too need some of these things. They need all these things, not even some of these things. Our boys too our boys too need this. So please go ahead, put in the comment section. Tell me what you like. Yes, I like the affirmations you made your children declare when awesome. Yes, awesome, awesome. So put if you have any question, and while we are typing our questions, Pastor Irene, you could also share about the 10 over 10 girl squad. I know you have a lot of programs you're doing. Tell us about the nurse school too. Just
All
tell us
right,
about everything you're doing. Thank
thank you
you.
so very much, everyone. So let me start with the nurse school. So in 2016, I was in a hospital with one of my daughters, and one of the cleaners walked up to me and said, she was talking to me, and somebody came to ask her that, where is her daughter? She now said that the daughter was cleaning another department in the hospital. And I had this holy anger in me asking that, why was her daughter cleaning? And then the Holy Spirit just started walking me through the idea that for many children, they are limited by their parents' ceilings. So a child cannot go beyond what their parents will become. And he put it in my heart and my husband's heart for us to set up a school for poor children. And we started in 2019. No, children cannot be poor. Children living in poverty, children cannot be poor. And so we started this school. Is 100 naira a day for the kids to come. They get books, uniform, lunch, sanitary pads. They get a skills based education, and our goal is to give them an education that empowers them to break out of poverty. So we've done this. This is our sixth school year. Our pioneer set is in the SS3 now, and we have a number of ways that we always invite people to support us. So while the student pay 100 naira a day, that is 6,000 naira a time. That's like what? That's like £2. How many pennies? It's not a lot of money, so you can't get anything done. So what it actually costs us to keep our child in school, providing them school lunches, uniform, furniture, books, and all of that, is 240,000 naira a year. So people can come in to say, okay, I want to support a child fully. I want to contribute towards supporting a child, and you get to choose how you can support us. The second way you can support us is support our feeding program, because due to the inflation, our fee has been static since last year, and right now that fee cost is not even cutting it. So we're open to people donating food items, even cash or whatever they feel comfortable doing to support our feeding program. In addition to that, we have some children whose parents left the community where we were and they've moved out. And so we've had to give those children residential accommodation. That means we have a boarding facility for, I think, five of them. We have a boarding facility for five of them. And we need support to keep them feeding every day. So for that, we're trying to look for 36 people who can say, okay, I can donate 10,000 naira every month. And they'll do that for us for 1 year. Because what it costs to keep them eating for 1 month, the entire boarding facility up and running, is about 360K a month. And so we need people supporting us, because five is a lot, and we have chaperones working with them. So if we find someone here, 10 people, 36 people who can give 10,000 naira a month, some people can take up more than one slot, and that would be good. And then that's it. All right. So let me go to the programs that we run. I'm going to come to some questions that I'm saying. So you see the things I talked about today. I have a way that I'm teaching children as well. I started the 10 over 10 girls squad last year, September. So we've done this for what, 13 months. And I have found a way to teach them in bite sizes. So we started a program called 10 over 10 Girls Squad, and this is how the lessons are structured. By the way, it's for girls aged 3 to 17. We have an online web app where these lessons happen. We have three pre-recorded lessons every month. The first lesson is on Bible study. When you tell children that there's divinity on their inside, it's important for them to know the nature of that divinity, to know encounters that people in the Bible had, to know what God did in the Bible with different people. So when you tell them that that God is with them, it has a place. So we start every month with Bible study. The next lesson we do is body safety. Children of different ages navigate different kinds of risk in different places. And sexual abuse is the one thing that hampers on their self-esteem. I've seen girls who were abused, and their first question was, why did God let that happen to me? I'm not good enough anymore. I'm no longer a virgin. There's no point to it. My parents are upset with me. And really, some parents were reacted in a particular way. Why were you there? Why didn't you do this? Not knowing that in the event of sexual abuse, there is a language and a way to support a child, that they don't live with the idea that something is wrong with them. So we do body safety for girls 3 to 17. Different things for different ages is different priorities, from peer pressure for 9 to 11-year-olds to, believing everything you hear, wanting to have what others want in 12 to 14. 15 to 17 is getting eager to leave home. I want to go and be free. What does that freedom mean? So just conscientizing them, helping them understand their strength, their weaknesses, and helping them become aware of their vulnerabilities. The girls on the squad know when they're vulnerable. Like this time, we had this series telling them, when you're having disagreement with your parents, you're vulnerable. If someone has a crush on you at that time, you make poor choices. Is understanding that it's still the same journey. They need to be self-aware. They need to be, you know they need to accept themselves. They need to understand the challenges and the weaknesses that they're dealing with per time, so that they can navigate. And finally, we have the leadership and character class happening every month. The leadership and character class actually focuses primarily on decision making. Everything we teach in big R, we call it the big R lesson. I see somebody on the squad. Yes, everything we learn on the big R lesson is about decision making. Decision making in your parents' absence. Decision making in your parents' absence. And so these are the pre-recorded lessons. But we also have two live sessions. One session is on Bible Live. Last this month on Bible Life, we watched a video about a girl who kept comparing herself to others, and she needed to see that God had made her complete, and there's no one that has everything, but what they have is enough. And so we're able to show. Sometimes we do movies, and then I teach, I answer questions, and sometimes we bring other people to come speak. Come speak on different things. And so if you're out there, you like your daughters to be on the 10 over 10 Girl Squad, our October registration is now open. So your girls can join the October session. And 2025 is going to be explosive. We're already brainstorming on the things that are going to make it super, super, super amazing and convenient for everyone. I saw some questions and I want to take them. Someone asked, is there such a thing as being too confident for a preteen or teenage girl? And what the impact might that be? Well, so let's gauge it. What makes people say too confident? Is this child talking down on other people? Does she express, let me put it this way. Confidence says, I can do it. I'm good at this thing. I do it well. I do it excellently. But the other one says, I'm better than everyone else doing it. Confidence does not compare with other people. Confidence does not need to put down. Confidence is expressing trust in your own ability. And you can express trust in your own ability without putting down other people's programs or other people's approach or other people's skill. So when you say a child is too confident, are they putting down other people? The other part where people have a problem and is worth having a problem is when a child is too confident that they don't take feedback. The two is inferiority complex. It's not confidence. If a child puts down other people, there's something they feel about themselves and they feel that they're trying to convince themselves that they really think they're better. So, which is a bit dangerous because the confidence ruffles them, but they can still take feedback. They can still take feedback. They're not putting down other people. There's no danger in that. So let me scroll down. All right. So if the child is not putting down other people and the child can still take correction and feedback, then the child is confident. Then we're good to go.
Oh, okay.
To be told
I
that
think you're
nobody
back
that
now.
knows it all. Yeah. So those are the two extremes. So you take it from there. Yeah. No, I'm done. Come back. I want to see your pretty face. Yes, I have a
So what
program
I
for 6-year-olds. It's called the 10 over 10 Girl Squad. Yes, we do have a program for 6 to 8-year-olds. We actually have a program for 3 to 17-year-olds. So your 6-year-old will do well in our second class. That class is for 6 to 8-year-olds. So it's 3 to 17, but they are all not together. We have 3 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 11, 12 to 14, 15 to 17. That way, everything that we teach and learn is age appropriate and relevant to them.
so how can people join? Do you have a link we can share?
Yes, I'm going to share the link with you after the session. But if you went to our YouTube channel, the link is there. Something happened this evening as I was about joining the call. The link has not been responsive. So I'm talking with the company that we work with. So they're troubleshooting, but I'll forward it to you. I'll
Uh,
forward it to you, but people should just try from tomorrow. By then, we are done with all the drama.
okay, okay,
Thank
okay.
you
So
so
I'll
much,
post
Auntie.
on the first.
Thank
Is
you,
there
ma'am.
another question? Should we judgmental on
So I
yeah.
want to also say something. I also have other resources. I have resources on family identity. Some kids are resentful of their parents because of mistakes from the get-go. So we have resources on family identity building. We actually have a bundle called Say No Bundle, and that bundle has a lot of resources. Do you have a book on honor? Are you asking me to write a book on honor? I don't have a book at the moment, but we make. All right. So teaching our kids to honor themselves and others. Yeah, I should be able to do that. But there's something I'm working on. My next book coming out is called Don't Talk Like That. It's for girls. And we need to talk about the talking thing with girls. So that's supposed to come out in December by God's grace. Yeah. So what was I? We have lots of resources. Say no resources. If a child has done something wrong before, let's say a child was caught watching pornography or masturbating, How do you look at that child and not label them by the event? We have a course that helps you navigate it, making sure that you come out of that experience with a whole child, not a broken one. Because regardless of what that child has done, they have potential to become everything that God designed for them to be. And you are to steward that process as a parent. If you're stuck up in let me down, you knew the right thing to do, you will not be able to give the child the support that they need to come out of that experience. And so we are happy to support you. That one, the link is live. I'll send you the link to our online store. This week we also launched, last week rather, we launched an online safety book for girls. That is one thing that I think so many parents, one resource I think many parents should access, because we are not digital as our kids are. And we don't always have all the knowledge to guide them how they navigate the online world. This year, I've gotten so many reports on kids sharing their nudes. And some of the kids were really naive kids. Those are the kids that we feel when we see them at church, we probably feel that they're perfect. Or there's a child I encountered. She is so intelligent that her parents went away with the idea that she would know what to do. But the thing is, faced with the challenge, you'd be surprised what choices they'll make. So we have to be proactive about equipping them. So my daughter and I, my daughter is 13. I got her to work with me to write a book on online safety for 3 to 8 year olds, 9 to 14 year olds, 15 to 17. We designed the book in such a way that girls will read different situations they'll find themselves in and what to do. For 3 to 8 year olds, they have 30 situations they'll be in. For 9 to 14, we have 54 situations they'll be in. For 15 to 17, we have 70 situations. It's like a Bible. When we finish, we called it, this is the online safety Bible. And how did this book come around? I wrote something and I shared with my daughters. So my second daughter is the creative director of the family. She'll tell you this is not working. This could have been better. This could have been better. But if you carry that work and give her to do, she will not do it. She will not be able to do it. So we opinion to give us that reality check. One time she was in my production as I was recording, she told the directors to stop. She came to me and said, "You're talking too fast. People cannot hear you. Slow down." Then she left. Sometimes I'm recording a voice note. She'll come back and say, "You have not articulated your thoughts before you started recording that voice note. Gather your thoughts, write it down before you start doing voice note so that it's not too long." People don't like to listen to voice note too long. And I'm looking at her. You don't have a phone. You don't do WhatsApp. How do you know that it's not too long? But recognize that that was important feedback. So she critiqued the book, and her sister looked at the book and said she agreed with her. And she said she wanted to work on it to make it better. So what do you think I did? I gave it to her. And when she was done, in fact, the day she was done with the last book, when I looked at it and I was appraising it, editing it again, I told her, "You did so much work." She said, "Mommy, anything you give me, you can trust that I'll do it well." And that's happening because we have nurtured. That's the child that is shouting on my daughter that is not allowing her breathe to. But I recognize her strength. I'm maximizing everybody's strength. That's just what I'm saying. We're maximizing everybody's strength. So I'm going to write a book. I've never thought that I had a profound concept with honor. But now you're saying it, Mrs. D. I promise you I'm going to look into it. I might work on that
Yes,
next year.
please.
For next year, my first book for next year is responding to LGBTQ. I started working on that last year, but I'm not done. So I want that book out next year, and then after that, I'll work on honor. I didn't know I had there was something in there. I'll ask the Holy Spirit again. We'll check with him. We'll check with him if he's
We
on
check with
board.
you.
If he need to check so that we
Amazing.
know. Thank you so
Wow,
much. Thank
awesome.
you.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, it was really valuable for our time. Please, if you still have questions, we still have some time left. Please, if you have questions, kindly drop it in the comment section. And once the links are available, for those on PSP group, I've shared the flyer for the nurse school and the website too. If you'd like to be a part of that project, please kindly go in and support. Then I think I saw some then, ma'am, I was going to ask, how do we access your resources in the UK?
Okay, so for some time I stopped doing stuff with Amazon. I was using, you know how you have a book there and you don't know how to remove your money. So I got discouraged a bit, but I'm coming back. I couldn't, I have an Amazon account, but I was using Payoneer, and Payoneer has been really difficult. They have high maintenance fees. So you could be selling books, but you're not accessing the cash. So what I'm thinking about doing now, because for 2025, We're working on a series of resources for girls on the squad, and we're going to start producing in Nigeria and shipping it directly to the UK. Ah, Mrs. D, let's talk now. Let's talk. Ma,
Yeah,
please
I was
give me
going.
my and talk. Let's talk.
You
I
know,
need you.
I mentioned
Yes.
this to you the other time. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's your go-to person.
I'm
Tested
ready
and
to.
trusted.
Please, 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 ma, let's talk, please. Thank you. And you're the one that said I should write honor book. I'll write. Oh, I'll write. Bring a book this.
Yes.
You'll make. I will write
So
when the has called me back. Oh, I will write when he says it's okay to write, and I'll work with you, please. Ma, you give
yes,
me her number.
awesome. I mean, sure, sure.
All
I
right.
will link you up with that. Tested and trusted. She does all
Thank
our parenting books. She does shipping for all our parenting books for us.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes,
So, this
yes.
question here keeps coming back to me. Do you have resources to teach children living with autism or other special needs? To be honest with you, I don't have specialty in with children with additional needs. But since 2 years ago, there's a boot camp that I did that I got people with special that teach and specialize with special needs to come in and assist us. I'm looking for partnership. I'm looking for someone that I can sit with and give our materials to, and they'll follow the principles and framework for teaching children with special needs and adapt those resources for children with special needs. When I
Mm,
find two, three people who can do that, because what we've done is bulky. For instance, body safety to be broken down for children with special needs. I'm willing for someone to work with us, even on the squad, to take lessons that we've taught and adapt it to children with special needs in a language that they will understand with the repetition and the techniques. I'm willing to partner up with someone to do it because children with special needs also need all of this learning. I mean, there's a lot of sexual abuse around children with special needs that we need to take actions around. And so I'm at that point where I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking for someone who can collaborate with us to make this happen, and we'll make it happen. Your requirement, your needs are very valid, and we should be able to support you. But I want to make sure that it's a combination of experts. We are experts in designing resources for body safety, and we're interacting with experts with children of additional needs. I refuse to think about it as an opportunity to make money. I think that it should be done with expert experience so that you get value from it. Because if we just come up with a bunch of stuff and sell it to you and it's not worthwhile, the money has moved hands, but you don't have value for it. So I'm very particular about connecting with people. I've even made a post on it and they tagged the number of experts. But the thing with experts is that they are so busy. I know they're also busy, and one of them is even doing her PhD in Canada. She's the one I wanted to pull into this. But let's also do this prayerfully. Maybe as we keep calling experts, they don't need to be known people, but people who are skilled in the
mm,
work and are willing to
mm,
partner with them. They don't need to be known people.
mm,
All right. Thank
mm.
you so much, Joy, for asking. And as soon as you find someone who's willing to work with us, please reach Atinuke to make a connection. Thank you so much. God bless you,
Sure.
Susan. Thank you.
Thank you. And to others watching too, if you have that link, that connection, please kindly
Please, I
share with
ask.
us.
You guys are where they are experts. You're actually living in communities where they're experts, but I'm happy to partner up with anyone, do meetings, draw curriculum, design something, and get the guidelines on how to follow.
Wow. It's like we should just
Thank
continue.
you.
I don't want us to stop. But
Thank you for the
I'm not
vote.
seeing any other question. I'm not seeing any other question again. So
Yeah.
so before we go, let me just run through our profile. So this program is powered by Parents Supporting Parents in the UK, and our vision is to empower Nigerian parents in the UK to thrive in a diverse society while raising also families. We are more concerned about raising godly families, raising family that will do the bidding of God and will glorify God, even in the abroad. And we also
Yes.
foster a sense of community. It's just a way of, one of the things I've learned living in the UK is information is power, and having a community actually saves you a lot of stress, especially for people that are just relocated. So our mission is to provide a supportive and inclusive environment where Nigerian parents can share experiences, access resources, and build network that promotes mutual learning and holistic well-being of themselves and their families. And this we have been doing. At the moment, we have over 500 members. So if you think this is a community you would love to join, or you know someone in the UK that is struggling, settling down and everything, you can refer them. I mean, you can share the link with them. So we organize webinars like this over time. We've had webinars on finance, on education, on safeguarding. So this is on guests, and hopefully we should bring Pastor Kingsley here to talk to us. I mean, to
Yes,
talk
yes,
to parents of
yes,
boys, right?
yes, yes, yes. He
Yeah,
just
so
started.
it's so that it's balanced. We are
Yes,
not just listening for the girls. So I hope
yes.
I'll discuss with him. Hopefully, then I'm also sending you indirectly, ma. Please help us
Yes,
whisper to him.
yes,
Help us whisper to him that we need him to talk to parents of boy child too. So
yes,
so that we have a balanced conversation. So it's not only girls, we also have boys too. So if you're interested in joining PSPI UK, that's Parents Supporting Parents in the UK, you can use the QR code or the link there. We only accept UK numbers. That's the only way we can be sure that you are based in the UK. We only accept if you know, if you have any friend or
yes,
someone that just relocated and just need a community of God-fearing people, like-minded, family oriented and family conscious community. We are here, we
yes.
are open, and we learn from everyone.
Okay.
Cause for boys. Do you want to tell us about Cause for Boys? Yeah, yeah, doing it together with Pastor Kingsley.
Yes, so my husband, I've been pulling him for how many years now? He's always done stuff with youth, as Atinuke knows. He's very passionate about youth. He's done youth for nearly 30 years. So I started just telling him to work on boys. And he started working with boys like 2 years ago, but it was about going to schools. And I said, no, I want a mentoring thing that boys are meeting with someone every month. Nigeria has come to a very disturbing place. In the last month, a young boy killed his childhood friend, Christina Ido, that he asked out, and she didn't accept. And they kept on going like nothing was big deal. And he ended up taking her life. The other one killed his sister. And so I had to sit with him and say, baby, these things are a real deal. Oh. Boys need, those of you that are responsible men are just facing your career. You're not mentoring boys. And irresponsible people are creating content, promoting culture and values. I live in a community in Abuja, Kuje, and I don't need anybody to tell me that there are 419 boys here. You go to the eateries, they're all over the place. And so I'm happy that, again, he needed to do it when the Holy Spirit said it was okay. So my husband has just launched a mentoring program called Boys to Kings. And I will send how to sign up to Atenuke. Boys to Kings started last Saturday. But he still has opening
Yeah, we
until
already
next
shared.
Saturday to join this month. Yeah. So
Oh,
what does Boys to Kings stand? What do kids coming into Boys to Kings stand to gain? Practical conversations about Kingsley wants to shape their value set. Kingsley wants to improve their decision making skills. And he's coming from a place where at some point in his life, he had to look for adults to hold on to as well. So, yeah, he's looking at value set, decision making, responsibility, and
network. Oh, nah, we can hear you. Hello, ma. We can hear you. So that's the link. If you are trying to sign up, that's the link to. If you want to know more about Boys to Kings, that's the link in there. And Mama, I don't know touch me. Okay. So if you like to join Boys to King, that's the link in there. boys2kings.org. I will also post it on the group. So Yeah, I think if we don't have any question anymore, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to my amazing team. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you for Raising Girls NG, those that joined the Raising Girls NG. And please do well to share this with your friends. Share the links. Let them also learn. Don't hoard this knowledge. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with everyone you know that has a girl child or that has children at all. Let them also learn from this resource. And this this video would be on our YouTube channel. Please endeavor to subscribe to our channel so you can be notified when we have videos posted. So this video is going to be on our channel and you can still use the same link to listen to it. And I think it's a video worth listening over and over again. Thank you so much, everyone. We can call it a day now. I look forward to catching up with you again on our next webinar. So we are also having another girls coach coming to talk to us. Hopefully next month. Next month or so we'll also be talking about health, how to take care of ourselves. So please go ahead and drop in your thank you messages to Pastor Irene. Can go. I'm sure she's gonna read it. She's trying to connect it again. Oh, welcome back.
Hey, Mama. So let me just wrap up by saying Kingsley has a mentoring circle going on now. Please do well to sign up because Kingsley is my mentor and he's the best person to handhold anybody to become somebody. I'm telling you. 16 years with him, I'm telling you, from believing in myself and just getting out there. And usually, when we're growing up, they used to say that women should work to be prayer warriors, pray for their families, and all. I've been fortunate. I told God I didn't want to marry a man that I would take to church. Some of us may be in those situations, but I think we can turn around and say, I'm so sorry about Nigerian network. You guys should be praying for us, okay? So Kingsley is a praying husband. Kingsley is a praying husband. Praying husbands. I want more boys to be praying husbands. And that's something that he is. And I really want more boys to be praying husbands so that my daughters can marry a praying husband. Because there's a selfishness to this thing, yeah? I want my daughters to marry praying men. And then finally, if you want your son to become a leader, that is a leader, a boy that makes choices that people listen to them, that they are recognized locally and internationally, is Kingsley that you should listen to. Thank you so very much. Sis, I think I should go now, and I've had a really wonderful time being here. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So good to have you. And I'm sure we are still bringing you back. We'll have a remix of this. We'll have a part two of this webinar. And thank you, everyone, especially for your time. Thank you for being a part of tonight's webinar. See you in. Yes, it has started. Boys program has started last week, but you can still join. I think you can still join. So use the link boys2kings.org. I also post on the group chat if you really want to be a part of it. So thank you. Have a lovely evening and enjoy your weekend. Bye, everyone. Bye. Enjoy. Have a good evening. All right. Thank you.